This concept gets 5 bananas out of 5 according to the NoMoreStinkyMonkeys.com website. See my new shirt? Oh man, what must it be like to be Bruce Springsteen? As one of his biggest fans for the last 30 years, I've often asked myself that question. He's a devoted family man with a loving wife and 3 teenage kids. He lives in an expensive home not far from where he grew up, surrounded by relatives and lifelong friends. And the band he plays in now, as he's turned 60 years old, he put together mostly when he was 22. And he has this undying love from his fans that grows deeper with each decade. Those fans loved him for making music that was intensely personal, feeling like he was telling their life stories. And now they have grown kids of their own who share their parents' passion. And as a live performer, he's always approached his craft like a possessed working man, leaving every bit of energy on the stage. But these intense feelings that the fans have always had for him, I feel like finally now they're being reciprocated by Bruce back to them. He loves these people with a fervor I've never seen from any performer before. I know he's always appreciated this and tried to put on the best show possible, but it's only in this decade that I feel like he wants to be with us and thank us in some personal way for not only making him rich, but for making his life richer. He grew up in a dysfunctional family, and he didn't distinguish himself in school. He led a ragtag existence for about 10 years until he finally made it as a musician in his mid-20s. He knows where he came from, and more importantly, he knows where we've helped take him. But I think there was something holding him back from seeing just how close we felt to the man. I saw it a little bit on the Rising tour back in 2003, and I saw it way more last year when I went to see him in Hershey, Pennsylvania. But now it was as plain as the nose in your face during these final concerts played here at New Jersey's Giant Stadium. During the song Hungry Heart, this older man body surfed across the crowd. Mere high fives aren't going to do it anymore. Now he wants to feel your hands upon him. The only other performer I've seen do this was Peter Gabriel. Before this, the closest people ever got to him was when he'd bring a young woman on stage to dance Dancing in the Dark with him. But he really blew me away during Waiting on a Sunny Day. When he climbed up into the first section, just about 10 feet above the concert venue, fans surrounded him and huddled with him, singing the refrain of the song into his microphone. And then he put the mic in front of a 4-year-old girl's face as she was held in her father's arms. She sang the song in front of with the lights and camera in her face so all the crowd could see her on the video screen. He then let her hold the mic by herself and asked the crowd to quiet down so only she was singing the song. It was funny and cute, beautiful and uplifting. Perfect song for a perfect little face to sing. And security must have been losing their minds because Bruce was completely out of their grasp and they were unable to protect him from any harm if it came. But none came, because Bruce was there to tear down his football stadium and replace it with a house of love and faith and hope and sexual healing. My brother and his girlfriend and I didn't know it was general admission on the football field, so there was no seats. And if you got there early enough, you could be as close to Bruce as anyone has ever been. Well, we got there the minute he got on stage, and still managed to move to a spot within 100 feet of the stage. It was incredible. He began by playing a new song written just for the old stadium called Wrecking Ball. Then he moved into a real crowd pleaser, 10th Avenue Freeze Out, and then the classic No Surrender. We learned more from a 3-minute record than we ever learned in school. How many people felt this way about high school? From the exultant way the fans screamed that line in concert, you get the impression that the answer is many. He then performed his new song, Outlaw Pete, which takes about 8 minutes and is nice, but not really the showstopper that Jungle Land used to be. I think his new songs are very middle of the road and slow his shows down. Indeed, at times like these, it seems like he stole these songs from John Bon Jovi's Notebook. But he only played 4 new songs that night. He's more in love with his audience now and more in tune with playing the kind of show they want to hear. In 1995, for an example, when people were yelling requests, he snapped back at them, "What do I look like, a fucking jukebox up here?" Now, ironically, one of the highlights of the night is the request period, where hundreds of people hold up poster boards and sometimes more creative signs with new song names on them. Many of them are Bruce songs that he hasn't played in years, and sometimes they are other people's songs that he's never even played before. This request period then becomes a great version of Stump the Band. This time the band was asked to play Elvis Presley's Jailhouse Rock. He had to play it. It was requested on an old egg carton. He said we've never played this one before, which seems crazy considering what a big Elvis fan he is. He strummed on his guitar, trying to find the right chords and the right key, and sang the first lyrics by himself with just his guitar until the greatest bar band in the world figured out where he was going with it and followed along. First with Mighty Max Weinberg hitting the drums and then the rest falling in step. What could have been a disaster turned out to be the #1 highlight of the night. As the band found their way in, the crowd started jumping around in delirium, clearly loving the song as much as any Bruce track. People were dancing wildly and jumping up and down and shocked that we all knew the words to the song, singing along at the top of our voices. What was a party turned into an explosive rave, and Bruce and the band played louder and faster, soaking up the waves of pleasure from the crowd. When it was over, the 75,000 people in attendance exploded in cheers, and Bruce pointed to the guy with the egg sign and said that was a great choice and he might have to add it to the act. You never know where your inspiration is going to come from. Lately, Bruce has been playing one of his classic albums in their entirety every night. Our night was a Darkness on the Edge of Town night. I heard 5 songs from the album that I'd never heard live before, including one of my all-time favorites, Candy's Room. And Roy Bittan's piano on Racing in the Street gave me chills. Only because Bruce does not usually have long solos, so you forget just how good these individual musicians are. We got to hear such rarities as Be True. That's the flip side of Hungry Heart, the B-side that you never hear on the album. Cadillac Ranch and I'm Going Down. Cadillac Ranch was a special treat for my brother, since he's such a car fanatic. When we were driving to the show, Cadillac Ranch came on the radio and he made us all quiet down while the song played. I think the line about Burt Reynolds and his black Trans Am, alluding to Smokey and the Bandit, is one of the reasons he loves the song so much. Smokey and the Bandit has always been one of his favorite movies. Bruce played 3 hours straight with no breaks, not even having a real encore since the band never actually left the stage. His wife, Patty Scialfa, might be a wonderful person, but she's a terrible singer. It reminds you of Linda McCartney when she opened her mouth on stage. Thankfully, she doesn't seem to join him on stage much anymore. And the rest of the band, incredibly tight. And the new organ guy ably replaced the deceased Danny Federici. Nils Lofgren continues to amaze with his acrobatic play and his incredible solos with no picks. Just his bare fingers and creativity. And Max Weinberg's son came on to play the drums for Born to Run. I think the time has arisen for Max to go to Hollywood full-time with Conan O'Brien and leave the hard work of drumming for Bruce to his son. Indeed, watching Max behind the drums on the video screen, you could see him gulping for air on this cool autumn night. I realized after the show that I've seen Bruce on every major tour since the Born in the USA tour in 1984, and a few times in between, and that's without even trying. No other performer has this pull over me, so I hope he keeps putting on great shows into his 80s. I know a pretty little place in Southern California, down San Diego way, where there's a little cafe and they play guitars all night and all day. You can hear them in the back room strumming, so hold on tight, because baby, you know Daddy's coming. Ah, from the Predator.